Good afternoon, everyone. I am Eagle Sandra Edwards, DMIN Dance Year 2. And today I'm going to be introducing key concepts in dance movements and actions, focusing on how we dancers use our bodies to express and communicate. Dance movement falls into two main categories: locomotor movements, which involve traveling through space. Movements like running, leaping, hopping, skipping, jumping, galloping, rolling, and walking. And two, non-locomotor or axial movement, which these movements stay in place, such as bending or twisting, swinging your arms. We'll also explore the elements of basic foundation of building choreography, which would include direct and indirect movements, variations in levels, directions, dynamics, and how dancers creatively cover space. So let's dive right into the lesson on today. I'm going to move the camera a little closer and we're going to start talking about those basic elements that build choreography. Just going to move our camera a little closer to the wall. Okay. Now, bear with me. I will adjust this camera twice, at least twice, and I don't want it to go upside down. So I think this will work. All right. The first thing I'm going to talk about is when we are in a space, on a stage. I'm going to talk about levels and directions first. So we'll start here. There are 5 basic levels. Level 1, it's usually done on the floor in prostrate position, like in levels of worship. Acts of worship, we'll usually see that level being demonstrated. And we have level 2. That level could be on a knee, still in worship. Then we have level 3. Level 3 could be in a yielding position where you're on one knee and you're lifted up, so you have prostrate. You may be kneeling on your legs for 2. Level 4, it's a very, the most common comfortable level is where we're standing on both feet and moving. It's a very comfortable level, but we want to try to integrate all of the different levels to make it a very compelling movement. That's level 4. Level 5 is achieved through leaps or jumps. So we start here with level 1, level 2, level 3, 4, 5. And there are other levels. For instance, a level 6 where someone could be lifting another person up. There could be level 7 or 8 even if someone is being lowered down from up above. So you can reach different levels, but we're going to stay with the most common levels right here. And if you are on the stage, you're looking at, if this is the audience down here, up here is upstage. You come down here towards the audience, that's downstage. And out here we have maybe center stage. Now we're going to talk about directions. So as we were talking upstage, here's one direction, downstage. And these are all areas in which movement is used. Then we have right stage and left stage. Simple enough. And now we have 4 other areas in which we use. They're on diagonals. We have a diagonal here. And we have a diagonal here. We have a diagonal this side. And another diagonal there. Now, of course, those spaces in between, they can be used, but again, we're just going to stay with what's, written in the books about the basic 8 areas of direction. And that's what we're speaking of here, direction. Okay? Now, we also have the circular movement. So we have a circle here, clockwise. Or we have a circle here, counterclockwise. Now, these are all elements of spatial exploration in which we as dancers can use as we choreograph our different types of movements. Now, I'm going to just talk about and demonstrate some of the areas and how we use levels and how we use dynamics, which is different types of energy in our movement. Also, one thing to keep in mind is time and tempo. All of that would come under the area. We have time, we have space, and we have dynamics. So that's where I wanted to kind of speak from. If we are keeping time, the simplest element of time, if you think of a clock, you have tick, you have tock. In between the tick and the tock is an increment of time. So it could be tick, tock, little slow movement in between there. But if you have a tick tock, you have a little sharp. It could be tick tock, tick tock. Time. That's a very basic element that we use in dance. And then we can speed that up. That's how you get our tempo. And when you use, let's say, a movement for every small increment, then you're creating a rhythm. You'll hear some of that in tap dance or in hip hop, where there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are all elements that deal with time. And again, space, this is space, our levels, our directions, our circular movements. And then we'll speak about dynamics. In dynamics, this has been really interesting. Excuse me one moment while I just grab these notes. But as I've been studying, I found a book. I haven't read it all yet, but it's a book by Miss Doris Humphreys, and she talks about the art of making dance. And she talks in there about 7 qualities of movement. Those qualities include swing or sustained movement or suspense movements, maybe when you suspended in air after that beautiful leap, or staccato. I think I just talked about staccato with the elements of rhythm and beat, vibrate, maybe with a shoulder shimmy. All of these elements, so we got vibrate, that's 5. Exploding, come on down. It's kind of like a tension and release. Those are all the elements that you add in the dynamics or the energy of a dance to these different levels and different directions. And there is the last of that 7 qualities of movement would be a collapse. A lot of times we'll see a big reach and then a collapse. A lot of times collapses will go to the floor, right? After a big explosion and then a collapse. So that's how we use our energy or the dynamics to travel through space at certain times, whether it's slow, quick, quick, slow. Now, I'm going to just move the camera again. Bear with me. Don't want to take it upside down, but I'm going to try to put it on the floor so that I can walk or move, move through these different elements of dance. Please just bear with me 1 second. Let's see if I can get it right. I don't want to be upside down. Right side up. So I'm going to try, I might get outside of the camera. I don't have an assistant, so I'm working all of my little stuff myself. So I'm going to kind of get right underneath of my drawing, my art rendering, and do some examples of the levels. Of course, level 1, a lot of times as I talked about that tension and the release, a lot of dancers might come down by doing an explosion and a jump. Then they might just come down, come to the ground, just lay here. Yes. Level 1. You can do a lot of movement. If you're doing a ministry piece and you want to show a lament, you might want to just roll over. Or you're worshiping like the 3 kings worship. You can just stay here for a moment. You can come back to the side like the prophet. You can come back over. You can do all types of different movement from level 1. Now, when we go sitting up at level 2, and to make the dance choreography even more dynamic is when you have more dancers included, where you have someone who could be worshiping, another person, or level 1, and another person who could be yielding here, or be in level 2, doing the same movements. This is also considered level 2. Level 3 might be up here in a yielded position. And we spoke about level 4 being on our just normal, a lot of movement goes on right here. But we always encourage release, tension, come back down, and come up to another level. So we want to incorporate all of those elements. So we saw 4, we saw 5. Also, contagions. I want to talk about contagion, which means a movement occurs after a short pause by other dancers. The same movement that the first dancer is doing. And I have been seeing in my spirit angels, seraphim, different levels of angels, and just worshiping to holy, holy, holy. And it could be done, the first level could be here, and they could just start with a basic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then those that are on the next level, level 3, they can start with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 is continuing to go. And then on the count of 4, those that are standing on level 4 could just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you'll see a mixture of movements, the same movement, but done in different times. That's called a contagion. Now, as I move in the different directions, I'd like to do some of these locomotive movements. And I will start with let's say, I'll go back on down to level 1. And I'm going to go into my diagonal. And I'm going to crawl. I have to watch my knee. Maybe I won't crawl so much. I'll come on back up. I'll come on back up. But I can go backwards on this level. I can come up and I can go down, back again. I can also do turns. And I can do skips to this diagonal. And I'll come on back. And I can do maybe a chassé to the back. Turn around. Release. Maybe I'll do a swing. So these are all elements that we use in choreography. Circles. I wanted to also speak about shapes. You can do shapes with our bodies. Just do shapes with our arm. Shapes with our bodies. Flat backs. Or flat back that way. Come under. Just shapes with our arms. Or we can do actual shapes with people. I could be like a point person, and then we have 2 people on the side, just a few steps back to make a triangle. Or we could be standing in a circle. Different dynamics. And then add on the elements of energy and time and moving space. That's what choreography is about. One of my favorite movements is from the Hebrew dance called DMIN. That's done in a circle, and it is a back front step, but you go in a circle. And then there's a directional change. You just go straight up, and it comes straight back. So almost as we were speaking of, that tension and release. And there's a little rhythm in there too. So I believe that I have covered the basic foundations and spoke about locomotion, movement, which goes from directions, it goes from levels, it goes all around and covers space. I've also spoken about the tempo, whether we're going to go slow or we're going to go tick, 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 move around to a rhythm. And I've also spoke about our energy and the 7 qualities of movement. And I might not said that, I'm going to say that because like I said, maybe I have, but I did find in my digging some, in the reading from Doris Humphreys, The Art of Making Dance, she talked about 7 qualities of movement. Swing. So if I swing and I jump, or I sustain and I hop. A staccato, da, 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 da. Staccato, or a vibrate. An explosion. Boom, down. Then back up again. And then we just did a collapse. And the last thing that I'm going to do is just a simple jazz walk. Thank you very much. Bye.